All right. Um, are you all seeing my screen? Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is our New Zealand trip, which will be in March of 2026. We're actually running it in November of 2025 as well, but that one sold out. So, there are spots available for 2026. And feel free to interrupt me with questions, but I'm just going to go over the itinerary sort of high level first. So, this itinerary covers both the North and South Islands of New Zealand that you can see on the map. We fly into Auckland, which is up here at number one. Then we spend 3 nights there. We then spend 2 nights in Rotoro, and that's number two down here. And then finally, we end with another 3 nights in Queenstown on the South Island. We're going to be doing some day trips, which I'll go over, but it is a 10-night trip and it should be a really great experience. We're excited to dig into sort of the nature and the culture of New Zealand on this trip. So, in terms of highlights, in Auckland, what you can expect. So, Auckland is a large, bustling port city. You'll get the chance to do a city tour. We'll walk around and see the highlights. This sky tower, which you see here that dominates the skyline, we'll see it from the ground. You'll have some free time as well for folks who do want to go all the way up and have the observation decks. They can do that. It's a really beautiful city, and there's lots of museums and art to see and do. Lots of street art is what it's famous for. Then we have a day trip to this island, which is just off the coast of Auckland, and it's famous for its vineyards. So we'll go see the island, take a ferry to it, and then spend a day wine tasting at the vineyards. Come back to Auckland for the evening. The other day trips that we will do is to the glowworm caves. These are a natural phenomenon in New Zealand where there's a type of worm that glows in the dark. And you can go into these caves, walk around, we'll have a guide. They'll explain about the geology of these caves and how these worms came to live in them. But it's pretty spectacular. And then finally, on that same day trip, we will also go to Hobbiton, which is where obviously The Hobbit was both filmed, and today is sort of a living museum about the movies, as well as just a really fun place to visit. So that's another day tour from Auckland. From Auckland, we will move to Rotorua, which is on a lake, and there are also natural geysers. This is also an area of the country that is really famous and still known for its Maori culture. So those are the indigenous people of New Zealand. And so there's sort of two purposes. One is to just enjoy incredible nature. Um, and we'll be staying on a property not far from the lake. You'll have the chance to enjoy the town. It's very cute. Lots of, local shops and things. It's a much less touristy city than Auckland or Queenstown is. We'll also go and see these geysers that erupt in different places. There's different sulfur and other types of sort of natural minerals that color the waters, different things. So there's like oranges, reds, blues, and we'll have a tour that takes us around to see all of these different hot springs in essence. And then we will also have a tour that's focused on Maori culture. There is a cultural village there that's dedicated to teaching foreigners about Maori culture and how the indigenous people have lived in New Zealand for centuries. So we'll have an afternoon learning about that, interacting with people who live in the region and learning about the history. And then finally, we will also stop by a sheep farm. You can't really go to New Zealand without doing a sheep farm tour. So that will be a great chance, again, just to get out into nature, learn a little bit about what is one of the most important industries in New Zealand, and hopefully take some pictures with some really cute sheep. And also, if you like sheep's wool and anything like that, it's a good time to shop They have lots of really beautiful wool that you can get if you're into knitting or things like that, or already made socks, scarves, shirts, etc. So that's always a popular thing is get your souvenirs at the sheep farm. Um, and then finally, in Queenstown, we will fly from Rotorua down to the South Island and go to Queenstown. Here again, it's all about nature. You're on this incredible bay that's almost like a lake, but it goes all the way out to the ocean. We will have plenty of time to just walk around and explore. One of the highlights in the city is always taking the Skyline gondola up for these incredible 360-degree views. There's also a really fun alpine slide. So there's kind of multiple options. We'll all take the gondola up. Folks who want to do some hiking, the gondola area is great. We'll have some free time if folks want to hike either back down or just hike around in that area, they can. Or you can choose to take the alpine slide down, which is a slide literally built into the side of the mountain, and you can take it all the way down to the bottom. So that is for the adrenaline junkies if you want to do that. And then we will also have a day trip to the Milford Sounds. We'll be taking a chartered plane from Queenstown to the Milford Sound area, which is super remote. There's not really any hotels or any places to stay. It's in the Fiordlands National Park, and so you're very much remote away from all people. We'll take a flight there, and then we'll also take a boat ride through the Sound. It should be a great time of year to be there. It'll be fall, so the colors will be changing, and we'll have nice waterfalls as well with the rainy season of summer coming to an end. So Milford Sound is probably one of the most iconic places in New Zealand. And then we will have a free day in Queenstown as well. We like to include a free day in pretty much every itinerary in order to give people time to do more things that they might want to do that, is not structured or pre-scheduled. So in Queenstown, there are lots of museums, but it's also a town known for its markets. And there's lots of farmers markets. There's also a sort of permanent artisanal market in town, and we've found that people really enjoy going on that last day, shopping, getting some last souvenirs, getting some last good snacks of different New Zealand food before we have a farewell dinner, and then you would depart back to the US from Queenstown. So that's the itinerary. Oops. And FAQs, weather. So this will be fall. In the evenings, it might drop into the 40s. We definitely recommend bringing, a fleece and maybe a scarf. Um, it should be in the 70s and quite sunny. Fall is a relatively dry period of the year, so it should be very pleasant weather. It's sort of the opposite weather to whatever we're having in the US, right? Since it's the Southern Hemisphere. The tour is moderately paced. There are walking tours in each of the cities that are going to require sort of probably 2 to 3 miles of walking. There is also some short optional hiking in Queenstown if you are someone who really likes hiking and getting up into the mountains. So it's not a super active tour, but it is fast-paced. We are doing a lot and seeing a lot over the course of the week. So do expect that, there's going to be one big activity each day. Visas, there is a e-visa for New Zealand. It costs about 11 US dollars given the current exchange rate. And it's something once you've purchased the tour and purchased your flights, you can buy the e-visa. This is something you have to do directly. It's not something, unfortunately, we can do for you since you have to provide a bunch of personal information that's best provided directly to New Zealand, not to us. Finally, trip price, it's 9,495 USD in single occupancy. That's including 4 to 5 star accommodations. We stay at really nice boutique hotels throughout. It is also daily breakfast and dinner. We have lunch every day included, except on the free day in Queenstown when we give you that lunch to do with what you want. And that also includes all of your activities, guiding, transportation, and tips for all of the guides and drivers throughout. So other than that one lunch, there's really nothing you'd need to pay for outside of your international flights and spending money should you want to purchase any souvenirs. So I'm going to stop there and stop sharing. Kimberly, I know you're already signed up for the trip, so feel free if you have specific questions, ask away. Jan, I know you might be considering the trip, so if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So the flight to Queenstown, that's included, right? In the
Yes, the
price? Okay.
internal, yep, the internal
Internal. Okay.
flight is included.
And then on that visa, so once I have my flight, I can then apply for the visa.
Yeah,
Doesn't
exactly.
matter how far out it is at that point.
Yeah, typically, I mean, the flights, I think they're just starting to publish flight schedules for next year. So,
Yeah, I've
as
been smoking around. Yeah,
yeah,
looking.
it's a 2 to 3 day turnaround. So we recommend doing it at least 90 days in advance just to give yourself, some time. But the women who've been doing it for their 2025 travel, they've gotten it back in like 24 hours.
Okay.
Are transfers to and from the airport included, or is that something on the traveler?
No, that's included. So we always pick you up at the airport. You just arrive, land in the city. So at the beginning in Auckland. And then we will pick you up and take you to the hotel. And then likewise at the end of the trip, we will take you from the hotel back to the airport based on your flight schedule.
What about if someone wants to come early? Would you still provide?
Yep,
Okay.
airport transfer is still included, and we most of the ladies actually on the trip in 2026 and in general on our tours, a lot of people elect to come a day early, so we can just extend your hotel reservation by a night so that you can just get in, crash, sleep, especially with this type of trip where, you're going to be like 16 hours ahead. You probably want the extra day to get over jet lag and then start the tour fresh. Any other questions?
No, I just kind of signed up without really looking at the details. Just wanted to hear more in detail what the trip was going to be like. I just
Yeah,
know
no,
I'm going
you're
to go
good.
here. So,
Um, well, yeah, we're really excited for it. It's incredible. And I think you could honestly spend like, 3 or 4 months in New Zealand and still not have seen everything. It's a jam-packed country, but I think it'll hit all of the highlights and give everybody a really good taste of, both the culture and the nature that they're famous for. And I'm really looking forward to it. So happy
How
to.
large? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, how many people are on the trip?
So, our trips are typically 6 to 8 women. We have a maximum size of 10 women and a minimum of four. But I'd say usually 6 to 8. And then we always have 1 to 2 trip hosts as well. So, there will be, when the group size is 4 or 5 women, it's just one host. When it's 6 and more women, you'll have a host and a host assistant. And they're trained by our team, staff members who go to provide just an extra level of support and sort of service throughout the tour.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing I will say, I mentioned single occupancy by default, so everybody gets their own room, which is great. And then the other thing that I think is a little different for our tours is because we keep our group small, we can eat a la carte at restaurants. We don't make you eat like a set menu where you have to eat the same food every single day. So we try to really find best restaurants in the city, really authentic food for wherever we are. And by keeping the group sizes small, we can eat at those really good restaurants without needing to like have a set menu where you can only choose chicken or vegetarian. So you can order whatever you want off the menus for all of your meals, and that way we can also accommodate dietary restrictions.
Okay.
do you know who the host is going to be yet for?
We don't. We think, have you traveled with Michelle yet?
No, I've only been on one trip with Myra,
Yeah,
Myra,
okay.
Myra,
Um,
and then I have a trip in October with you to
yes.
Africa. But yeah,
Um, so Michelle is thinking about it. She has to get the time off work, but she's doing Australia this year, and she's hoping that she can make New Zealand work for next year. So, we finalized our host schedule for 2025. We're not there yet for 2026.
can I just ask, like, what's your method for developing these trips and figuring out? Because this is a really great, I mean, packed with everything you'd want.
So we try to go to places that someone on our team has personally visited. And that's kind of the starting point. So for New Zealand, I had the chance to visit, and then it's really just about balancing. Like, we found the sweet spot for most trips is sort of 8 to 10 days. When you start to get into like 12, 14 days, a lot of people who are working can't take that much time off. And so obviously though, if you're going all the way to New Zealand, it's like, okay, I gotta make the most of my time, right? You're not gonna go for 5 days. So that was the balancing act. We knew we weren't going to be able to see everything, but we felt like Auckland and Queenstown are sort of the main highlights. And then I had a really incredible experience in sort of the more rural parts near Rotorua, and just understanding the indigenous culture was really fascinating. The sheep farm was awesome. And it kind of feels like something out of like a fairy tale or like Switzerland or something. So I knew I wanted to include that as we thought about the itinerary. So that's how we developed it. Really, personal experience is what mostly drives the itineraries.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, if no one has more questions, I will say goodbye for tonight. I will send a recording of this out as well in case you want to reference it. But otherwise, feel free, Camille, you obviously know how to get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Jan, if you have questions, you can email me personally at Catherine@womentravelabroad.com. But I'm guessing, did you register on Meetup or on Luma for this?
On Meetup, yes.
Perfect. Okay. So then I'll have your information. I'll send you an email with the recording, and then if you have more questions, you're welcome to reach back out to me.
Can I share the recording? There's someone, I think she spoke to you, Ellie Kramer. She's my
Yeah,
friend.
yeah,
She
yeah.
may be interested, but she was just had too much. She teaches a class right until 8 tonight, and it was just too much for her to be here.
Yeah,
So I'll,
absolutely. I'll if she isn't registered for it directly, I'll just send her a follow-up email with the link so that she
okay,
has that and she can take a look.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it was lovely to meet both of you. I hope you have great rest of your evenings, and let me know if you have more questions.
Great.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. Bye.